We have two Eagle Scout honorees here tonight. I was wondering if you would lead us in the pledge.
Why don't you come up to the microphone?
Come up to the mic.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Approval of minutes, monthly town board meeting of February 6, 2020.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll tell you one thing, that does not represent even closely the amount of work that's been done this month. Committee reports, Conservation Board.
Okay, the Conservation Board met on February 11th. A planning board referral, Riverview Industries, 3012 Route 9, Cold Spring, applied for a major site plan approval for parking area, commercial trucking. The applicant owns and operates a commercial trucking repair auto body. Conservation, of course, is interested in the piece that deals with the actual wetlands itself. There is wetlands on the property. They have to apply for a wetlands permit. It is required anytime the disturbance or you're looking to disturb inside of a 100-foot wetland buffer. A floodplain development permit will be required for disturbance in the 100-year floodplain as well. The Conservation Board met to determine basically the extent of the loss of the wetland. There has been some damage to the wetland itself. We need to find out the actual extensive distance and so forth, and also to discuss the possible restorations, which is felt to be going to be challenging. The Conservation Board will be following up with the town engineer and also interfacing with the Conservation Board on any needed issues. Next would be Manitou Point Reserve. This is a repeat from previous months. This is 100 Mystery Point. It's ongoing. The Conservation Board was concerned about the actual, remember this was about docks along the Hudson, regarding icing concerns, discussion of what kind of parts will be staying and being removed. There will be items that will be removed in the winter months. They had to come back and actually the engineer provide an actual discussion and plan and rationale for what they were doing. Conservation Board was satisfied with the plan and approved, and they were happy with the fact that the work will be occurring on the riverside, not the land side. That means there'll be less land disturbance. Also on the agenda was 12 Hudson River Lane. The Conservation Board was concerned there about the actual amount of dirt which will be moved and so forth around the river. This is, again, a repeat. This is a dock area on the Hudson. The Conservation Board directed that silt fencing would be installed to control the ground creep in the river during construction. There is an old masonry well that will be abandoned, and the engineer went into detail regarding the well and septic locations. The DEC and the Army Corps of Engineers, there'll be necessary responses and permits, so the Planning Board does not make any decisions until they actually return with those. The applicant will be submitting some additional plans at the next meeting. The Garrison Fish and Game Club, 183 South Highland Road. This is a beginning discussion. There'll be additional ones in regards to a management plan to deal with nuisance vegetation during summer months to their pond, adjacent pond area. They want to basically be able to improve its recreational and aesthetic purposes. There was a general discussion in regards to the invasives and what issues would take place. This also would require a DEC plan, and they submitted that, and that will be discussed as well. That, again, similar to the other applicant, would have to be approved prior to the Conservation Board passing anything. The stormwater also was discussed. The wetlands inspector, the highway superintendent, and myself make up the stormwater management group. We are coming up against our year ending, which will be March 9th. The wetlands inspector did brief everyone regarding the MS4 training that he took recently in Troy, New York. There is grant money available for water quality testing. So we're going to be taking a look at that. And we will be, of course, finalizing our report, and I wanted to ask the board, that is, which is normal for us to do each year, that we would have a public hearing and a discussion by any comments and so forth regarding the stormwater report in the May monthly meeting. And our next meeting will be on March 10th.
Thanks, Mike. Recreation.
Good evening. The Recreation Commission met on Tuesday, February 25th. The commission developed recommendations for the town board on the proposed New Leaf Garden, and I'm delighted to report last night the town board as well as the Recreation Commission met with the New Leaf Garden group, and it is now official that we are moving forward. There has been phase 1 developed, and I think we're almost ready to go. We have to dot the i's and cross the T's, but the New Leaf Garden group is on board, and the Recreation Commission and the town board approved the plan last night. We also have a summer program booklet that is now out, and I'm happy to report that registration for summer camp begins Monday, March 9th. So if you'd like to register for any of the programs for Summer Camp 2020, just grab a booklet. There's some here tonight, I believe, outside near the door.
Is that it, Judy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Philipstown Hub.
I believe Danielle Pack-McCarthy is here. She is. We'll be making a report tonight.
Hello, Danielle. Good. Come on up.
How you doing?
Good evening. Thank you. Okay, just a couple of exciting things going on, just in terms of events for the hub. We've been involved with First Fridays in Cold Spring, so we've been trying to keep the hub open on Friday evenings for activities open to different age groups. We did a games night. We had Hub and the Human Rights, an exhibit by Haldane fifth graders on the first Friday, and this Friday we're having a puzzle night from 5 to 7, and the Lions Club is helping to, is partnering with us to staff that. We're gonna have popcorn and puzzles. So from 5 to 7 Friday night. A couple of other things coming up. March 21st, we're hosting a youth mental health first aid training from 8 to 4 at the hub. It's $105 per attendee, although their sponsoring organizations have been really great about sending people that work with their organizations and work with youth. So we have Philipstown Soccer Club sending representatives and paying their admission. Philipstown Little League, Haldane Central School District, and the Scouts are some of the organizations that have been really instrumental in making this happen. And Youth Mental Health First Aid, for those of you who don't know, is basically CPR for mental health. So we're not training people to be professionals and to diagnose, but rather to notice first warning signs and to get people the help they need in terms of mental health. Whether it's you're working with, if you're a teacher working with youth, or also there's so many coaches in this area that come into contact with youth on a consistent basis. So we're hoping that the more this spreads throughout the community, the more helpers we have out there looking for first warning signs of mental health issues. And there's still spots available for that training, so if people are interested, they can go to philipstownhub.org to register. We also have a 5K coming up on May 17th, so that's in advance, but we're doing a hub training team on Saturday mornings at 7:30 a.m. To get you ready for the big race. So that's open to the entire community, youth and adults, and so we're meeting 7:30 Saturday mornings at the hub, which is at 5 Stone Street in Cold Spring, starting March 14th and running every Saturday until May 9th. And so we're hoping that this is a fun community race, and so if it's something that you've never done before and you're not a runner, we're hoping that this kind of brings a community together to get ready and to get yourself maybe motivated to do a 5K. What else do we have? Our next coalition meeting, oh my gosh, I wrote down the time and I do not. Judy, do you have that date there? Sorry.
Yes.
It
it's on my
is
calendar.
March, it's 3:30 to 4:30 at Desmond Fish Library on, so the 14th.
It's March 25th, Wednesday, March 25th?
March, yes, Wednesday, March 25th, from 3:30 to 4:30 at Desmond Fish Library. And again, Philipstown Coalition is a coalition of many different community sectors working together within Philipstown, and the meetings are facilitated by the hub, and we kind of alternate between Desmond Fish Library and North Highlands Fire Department, who have always been, both those entities are super supportive. Desmond Fish is also sending representatives to Youth Mental Health First Aid while I'm thinking of them. And just like to clarify for the public that the medication take-back box is located at the temporary town hall location. Yes? So
Yep.
I do get a lot of questions about that, so I'm glad. Thank you to town board members for making that, and for town hall for making that happen. So that's something that, you know, if you have unused medication left over in your house, we continually try to advise the public, please, we have this space, we have a medication take-back box available at temporary town hall for you to dispose of your medication safely.
That's at 34 Kemble Avenue
34
in
Kemble
Cold
Avenue.
Spring Village.
I just wanted to make, with all, I just wanted to clarify that the Philipstown Behavioral Health Hub just is not a crisis center, and I just want to make that clear to the public, although we're doing the best we can, and to stay open for as many hours as possible with the work that the town board has done in creating my position, which currently covers me for 14 hours a week, and then the creation of the Philipstown Behavioral Health Hub, which has supplemented that with an additional 8 hours a week. That still makes me a very part-time person working 22 hours a week, paid work, and so we created this organization in order to raise funds to make this work reach as many people as possible. So our goals over this next course of this year are to staff up and to get the office open and lights on for as many hours as possible. Many times when I'm not at the hub, I'm still doing hub work. Today I was at Garrison Union Free School, working with the 8th graders there and talking about, we're doing a few sessions there about mental health and addiction. So something that the community could be feel really good about, supporting this organization that continually is trying to grow to serve more people. And so I just want to continually make that clear.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Planning Board.
Okay, I attended the planning board meeting February 20th. First on the agenda was a couple correspondence. We got a letter from David Oltrike, 855 Route 301, which is the old Farms building up there. It used to be the old Marist Hall. Anyway, we got a letter basically from the Putnam Valley Planning Board itself saying, just to let us know, they're planning on replacing an existing storage building with a little bit larger one, and also with a apartment for a caretaker. Other correspondence that we received from Graymore, they're adding some cell service to an existing water tower. I think we also got a letter from Greg Warner on that, if everyone saw that as well. The first thing on the agenda, we had the public hearing for David Marzola, Landgate Road. I've been reporting on this project for the last about 3 months now. Anyway, there was a public hearing. He's just building a modest house, 1,800 square foot, 4-bedroom house on a 5-acre piece of property that he's owned for quite some time. There was a public hearing. There was nobody at the public hearing that had anything to say, but David did had some 4 or 5 letters from neighbors that were in favor of his project. With that said, the public hearing was closed, and next month, most likely, he'll get his approval to get his building permit and to move forward with that project. Under old business, this is the second official meeting that CRS International Self-Storage, 276 Route 9. The applicant is seeking an amended site plan for approval of an existing self-storage site plan. The property is approximately 2.47 acres located in Highway Commercial Zoning District. This was approved back in 2006 as a self-storage unit, but this is no longer going to be a self-storage unit facility. It's going to be a warehouse and office space. It's going to be 14,000 square feet of warehouse and 7,000 square feet of office space. This was deemed a major project for the board. Hours of operation will be 8:30 to 5 o'clock. Beatty and Watson is representing the client. The site was, like I said, has been approved for the county Board of Health back in 2006, but the planning board does have concerns. Back then, there was only supposed to be a caretaker's house on this. Now there's going to be almost a little less than 20 employees working there as well. So there may be a little contention. So we're not sure if the actual plan for the septic system is going to be quite big enough as what's on the original plan. But they'll be going through the county to get that straightened out. As of right now, there's no violations on the current site. Other concerns that the board has, as you know, Route 9 going up, there's a little bit of a hill there. The board is concerned about trucks. There's going to be tractor trailers coming in there quite a bit. The concern is about them exiting and going north because they're going to be crossing over to southbound Route 9 lane. So they do have some concerns with that. But they're the major concerns, is like I said, the septic and the trucks leaving and so forth like that. An EAF has been submitted. The board declared it an unlisted action regarding seeker. A public hearing has not been held yet. Most likely they'll have at the next meeting, they'll probably schedule a public hearing. Under new business, which is two small things, Joseph Phil Lombardo, 19 Philipstown Ridge, which is up in Lake Valhalla. He's got a minor, they call this a minor sub approval. What it is a lot line adjustment. Basically, he's going to get between him and his neighbor, they agreed that Mr. Lynch is going to get some more property at it. So all it is taking the line from the property and just moving it over. Magazino, which is up just as that was a project, the warehouse or museum that it is now today, they are seeking the same thing, a lot line adjustment as well. Right now, they're looking to take the piece of property where the actual Magazino building is and just change the lot line on that, so it'll be from 9 acres up to 14 acres. There'll be a site visit for this coming Sunday at 9:30. The meeting was adjourned at 9:10. The next meeting will be March 19th, 7:30. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Zoning.
Zoning, I attended both the February 10th and the March 2nd meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. The February 10th meeting, there was a continuation of the public hearing for Jose Romeo, who was appealing the building permit for his neighbor at 529 Route 9D in Garrison. There was a public comment and testimony by attorneys on both sides, and it was held open until the March 2nd meeting. Second public hearing of that meeting was Michael Kinsley, 8 Ferris Drive. Applicant seeks a variance for construction of addition that will be partially in the rear yard setback. This variance was approved unanimously. There were 2 applications for review for completeness. Alex Campbell, 4 Cliffside Court in Garrison. He seeks a front yard setback variance. So that application was complete and scheduled for a public hearing. Jared Del Val, 117 Round Hill Road, Cold Spring, seeks a variance for a garage over 1,000 square feet. That application was also found complete and scheduled for a March 2nd public hearing. The Campbell appeal was held at a public hearing, and it was approved unanimously, as well as the Del Val appeal was also heard and approved unanimously at the March 2nd meeting. The Jose Romeo appeal, 529 Route 9D, the public hearing was held, and the ZBA voted to read a letter from the town attorney that advised the ZBA that this case had exceeded the 60-day time clock that applied for the appeal process of his neighbor's building permit. There was considerable public comment as well as statements from both attorneys and Adam Rod, the attorney for the ZBA. This hearing was also left open for another month for additional comments and due to the fact that only 3 board members were present. There was a review of an application, Louis Ginnon, 21 Ferris Drive in Garrison. This was an application for an 800 square foot addition to a pre-existing non-conforming structure. This application was lacking a few items, and the applicant was advised to provide the info and attend the next meeting, which will be on Monday, April 13th here. That's it.
Thank you, John. Highway.
Highway, I have the highway report. Philipstown Town Board members, work performed by the Philipstown Highway Department for the month of February. Can we trust the groundhog and have hopes of only 6 weeks till spring? So far, winter has been relatively mild. The crews have been busy potholing on dirt roads and blacktop roads, spot grading and keeping pipes and waterways cleared, in addition to several minor snow events. A resolution was passed for the purchase of a Kubota diesel tractor to be purchased on state contract out of the 2020 equipment line, has been ordered, and we are awaiting delivery. The Highway Department received approximately 20 phone calls or visits or faxes regarding road comments for the month of February, and the Highway Department spent roughly $12,700 on vehicle maintenance and repairs in February, above monthly submitted by Carl Frazend, the Highway Superintendent.
Thank you. Under building land acquisition, we've been attending the weekly meetings at Town Hall with the contractors and monitoring the progress. It's going well. There's obviously been some things we didn't anticipate in the building because it's so old, and when they start taking it apart, then you find the real damage. It looked bad from the outside, but sometimes it looks even worse from the inside. All in all, though, we were surprised that the frame was in good shape, but they're moving along, and we are hoping to get back in by the fall. It's going to be a really, really nice space to be in. We're taking the meeting room back to its original configuration with the original tin ceiling, a higher ceiling in that room, and also some of the original detailing, including the bracket work and some period-appropriate lighting in there. And finally, the installation of an elevator. The elevator shaft has been completed and the elevator's ordered. So it's going to be a fully accessible meeting room and a much more functional building when we're done.
And efficient.
And much more efficient, you're not kidding, yes. Yeah, also, we're entertaining a new highway garage. We've started, in the fall, we had started preliminary discussions with companies that could supply that. We put out an RFP to local architects to see who wanted to submit a proposal. We got a couple of proposals, and we're probably going to be making a decision who's going to shepherd that project for us. But if you've noticed at the Highway Department, the highway workers in the back hammering out some rock because it's going to be a slightly larger building and slightly deeper to handle the trucks now and to make it, again, a better working situation and a more efficient building, because the current building is just, it's run its lifespan fully twice over.
And one additional is a proper bay for cleaning the trucks and
Yes.
maintaining the trucks,
Yeah.
so they can do it indoors. The salt and oil needs to be reclaimed, so it doesn't go out into the road or into the stream. So it has to be processed properly. So that'll be an additional expense to the building, but
Yep.
a necessary one.
Yeah, and it's been a long time coming. Also in that building will be the highway offices. So we'll have a new office space and a conference room where we can meet, because currently we crowd into a space that's about 8 by 8, and when you have 8 people in a space 8 by 8, it doesn't function that well. It is cozy, but it doesn't function the way we want it to. And we need to keep the highway department running, obviously. It's one of the more important departments in town. So we're looking forward to getting that going. We'll probably start on it this summer. And we're hoping to be, there's a plan for how to do it so we can keep the trucks parked in a portion of one half of the garage, take down one half of the building, build the building actually up to the other half, take the other half down, and then build the other half of the building. The company we've been dealing with so far says it's possible. The architects think it's possible, so we're making headway in that department. So you can look forward to 2 new buildings in town, and we're doing this still within the 2% cap. So we're not going to see any major increases in taxes. We've been saving for a long time for these projects, and people have lived and worked under some pretty unpleasant conditions over the years, as Teresa can probably attest to on the cold days in the clerk's office, and Tara also. When it gets down really cold, you are not even able to sit in that office unless you have a blanket around you. But those are going to be long gone soon, so we're looking forward to 2 new buildings. Cemetery Committee.
Okay, the mild winter has allowed, as we discussed in the previous meeting, some additional work. We've been doing work up in the North Highland Cemetery up by Horton Road. The committee themselves actually went into the cemetery, and in that particular cemetery, there's a lot of trees overhanging areas, and it turned out you weren't really able to walk down the main area, and there are 2 entranceways, and you couldn't walk down one, and certain graves were not really easily to get at unless you stooped way over. Those were cut back, so the cemetery is much easier to access all the way around now. In addition, the stonemason has been doing some additional work up there. The work, of course, is all above ground work because it's still very cold out, so we're not doing the footings that are necessary for the larger gravestones we talked in the past, because we have structural stability problems there because it's on a hill there off of Route 9. So that's why we swung out of doing the village ones, which we're not done with yet, and moved up to North Highlands because of the urgency we felt that was there. And we'll be meeting on our next meeting, which is March 10th, to discuss our spring restorations. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Putnam County Legislator?
Nancy's unable to attend tonight. Legislator Montgomery's unable to attend tonight. She's at the full legislature for Putnam County, which has been removed till tonight.
All right. Before we go, I would like to briefly comment on the coronavirus. I know everyone is very concerned. We've been in touch with the county and with our county legislator, who is our conduit to the county. We did try to get the county health commissioner here tonight. We were unsuccessful in doing that. I'm not going to play politics with it, but it was an unsatisfactory response, I will say that, to say the least. I would say to the public, right now, the threat to Philipstown and to Putnam County in general feels pretty low. But that's not to say that things may not change. They're likely to change, and we are likely to see some cases here in this county. It's right next door in Westchester. There's cases in Dutchess. To my knowledge, publicly, there are no reported cases in Putnam County yet. I have not heard any. I would urge people to go to the CDC website, go to the county website, and to practice some common sense habits. As they say, wash your hands. Learn how to wash your hands, not just running them under cold water for 10 seconds. You have to wash your hands if you're going to kill a virus. 20 seconds, getting between your fingers, using an antibacterial soap, but doing a good job. If you felt like you were coming down with something and you felt like you might, or you had a fear that you were getting coronavirus, you do not want to show up at a healthcare facility. You want to call ahead and give them preparation. So don't go wandering into an emergency room, because in this county, they may not be ready for you. And in any area, they may not be ready for you. And it's a courtesy to the rest of the general public. Probably the first thing they're going to ask you is, have you had a flu shot this year? So if you haven't, chances are it's the flu or it's a cold. But out of an abundance of caution, you should call ahead if you are going to proceed down that pathway. Other than that, there are things you can do to prep by going to the CDC website. Who knows what's going to happen? No one knows what the future holds. No one knows the schools will be shut down. I would anticipate there is going to be some disruption in society here. But the United States and New York in general is ramping up. And I hope that Putnam County is ramping up. I don't have personal knowledge of that right now. But again, use common sense. Go to the CDC website. Go to the Putnam County Health Department website for information, for real information. And practice common sense. With that, we're going to move on to the agenda.
First item on the agenda is an honorary resolution for Gaetano Cervone Eagle Scout Award.
I would like to give this honor to Councilman Farrell to read tonight. She worked so hard, and these are one of the more pleasant things we do. We do enjoy these immensely. We realize what an achievement this is. When people hear Eagle Scout, they say, oh, so what? But to get to become an Eagle Scout, it is a tough road. We realize that. So we're very proud of you.
You're welcome. I'd like to read this proclamation from the Town Board for Gaetano Cervone. Whereas the mission of the Boy Scouts of America is to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by instilling the values of the Scout Oath and Law, and where Scouts achieve their ranking by fulfilling requirements in the areas of leadership, service, and outdoor skills. And whereas Gaetano Cervone of Philipstown Boy Scout Troop 437 has proven to be an outstanding member of the Boy Scouts of America, attaining the highest honor bestowed on a Scout, the Eagle Scout Award. And whereas Gaetano earned the rank of Eagle Scout through his many contributions, most notable, building a U-shaped bench on the top of the Garrison School Forest, overlooking West Point, which gives hikers and school children the opportunity to see from a higher view as they appreciate nature and the beautiful Hudson Highlands. And whereas Gaetano continues to use his skills to help the community, taking initiative when help is needed. Now, therefore, the Town Board of Philipstown, on behalf of all of its residents, joins with Troop 437 in recognizing this bright and outstanding young man for his many accomplishments and specifically his receiving the prestigious rank of Eagle Scout as a Boy Scout of America. Congratulations.
The next item on the agenda is an honorary resolution for Alexander Masick, Eagle Scout Award.
Good night, that's gotta be a first.
It is a first. This is a first.
On behalf of the Town Board, I'm presenting this proclamation. Whereas the mission of the Boy Scouts of America is to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by instilling the values of the Scout Oath and law, and where Scouts achieve their ranking by fulfilling requirements in areas of leadership, service, and outdoor skills. And whereas Alexander Masick of Philipstown Boy Scout Troop 437 has proven to be an outstanding member of the Boy Scouts of America, attaining the highest honor bestowed on a Scout, the Eagle Scout Award. And whereas Alexander earned the rank of Eagle Scout through his many contributions, most notable, coordinating the renovation of a large cabin located in the Garrison School Forest so it would be safe for future school use as an outdoor education destination, and was able to complete the project with the support of several adult and youth members of our community. And whereas Alexander continues to use his skills to help the community, taking initiative when help is needed. Now, therefore, the Town Board of Philipstown, on behalf of all of its residents, joins with Troop 437 in recognizing this bright and outstanding young man for his many accomplishments, and specifically his receiving the prestigious rank of Eagle Scout as a Boy Scout of America. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Well, it's all downhill from here.
The next item is a resolution authorizing Supervisor Shea to sign the agreement between the Town of Philipstown and the Putnam Humane Society for fiscal year 2020.
This is something we do every year to assist the Humane Society. Could I get a motion on the resolution to sign the agreement with the Humane Society?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
The next item is a resolution authorizing Supervisor Shea to sign the intermunicipal agreement for shared equipment with the Town of Cortland, Village of Croton-on-Hudson, Village of Buchanan, and the City of Peekskill.
These intermunicipal agreements are part of a consolidation effort, so one municipality has a specialized piece of equipment, another municipality can borrow it for them without going out and buying one. And these may be things that you don't use all the time. Someone wants to borrow a vac truck or a grader. We have graders, more graders and bigger graders in other towns because we have more dirt roads. Most towns don't have any dirt roads any longer, but things like that. And we've borrowed equipment from the county, we've borrowed equipment from Fishkill and other areas, so it's a good thing to do. Could I get a motion on that resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
The next item is a resolution approving the following 3 change orders for the Town Hall renovation project in the amount of $31,515. Power, panels, sprinkler, compressor, and elevator wiring, and the amount of $12,900 for MC Superior Electrical Systems. The fire alarm for $4,125, also MC Superior, and phone, data, TV, and camera for $14,490, also MC Superior Electrical.
Although these are change orders, they weren't unanticipated. We knew that the elevator, we had spec'd an elevator, but they had not spec'd the motor. There are different phasings and electrical requirements for elevators, so that was left out. The other thing was the phone and data was an optional thing that we had spec but not bid out, so we knew that was coming. The fire alarm, we did have to move the system, or we opted to move the system because the location was too prevalent as you walked into this new building. We felt it was worth the added expense. But any comments on these? Nope. Bob?
Nope, I just, like I said, like today, I met with the wiring guys that do the AV, so we met with them, we got that all straightened out today as well, so, it's, like I said, Richard said earlier, it's coming along very nice, and
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get in there before we know it.
And we'll have a permanent camera system in the room and permanent AV system in the room, so won't be moving things in and out. Cecile will be happy. My thanks to Bob for all the work he's done, and to Councilman Van Tassel for, helping to shepherd this project along. It's a lot. And we anticipate that our involvement, will be there the entire time, but it's been fairly intensive in the beginning because
Once the walls are closed up.
once the walls are closed up, we're
Can't do
hoping
too
to,
much.
to be able to take a breather, but it's been intense. It's been a daily, labor of love up there. And it's a lot to manage. Some days it's like herding cats. But we do have an excellent contractor, we'll say that. Perry is a great guy, and I feel like there's been an honest discussion between us all the time, so that's helpful. Could I get a motion approving those 3 change orders?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
The next item is a resolution to reappoint the following to the Philipstown Conservation Board, each for a 2-year term. Crystal Ford, Andrew Galler, Robert Repetto, and Anthony Dios, who serves as the alternate, all of their terms to expire March 3rd, 2022.
I'd like to recommend all 4 people. I think they're doing a very good job. A couple of people are newer, but they're showing a great deal of enthusiasm already, and 2 other people have a lot of experience that they share and give quite a lot of value to this town.
Right, I know Andy and Bob have been there for
Yeah.
a long time. All right, well, with that recommendation, I feel even more comfortable. I know that everybody on there is a really nice person and a quality person, people who come prepared and are willing to serve the town, so. With that, could I get a motion on the resolution to appoint Crystal Ford, Andrew Galler, Robert Repetto, and Anthony Dios to 2-year terms expiring March 3rd, 2022 on the Conservation Board?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. And our thanks to them for stepping up.
Next item is a resolution to reappoint the following to the Philipstown Planning Board for a 4-year term. Peter Lewis, 4-year term to expire March 31st, 2024.
Before we do that, we did conduct interviews for the planning board. We had 2 nights of interviews. Last night, we interviewed 4 people.
4 people and 2 last week.
2 last week, so we've interviewed 6. We're done with the interviews at this point. The notice has been out long enough. Everyone who applied, there was some really impressive resumes, I have to say that, and really, really good applicants. All good interviews. It's going to be a tough decision, but we do have to make a decision too, since we're down 2 people on the planning board, and that makes it difficult to get a quorum if anyone is missing. Also, it's good to get people in there sooner than later to get them up to speed and keep the process marching along. But with that, I would gladly ask for a motion reappointing Peter Lewis to a 4-year term expiring March 31st, 2024 for the Philipstown Planning Board.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you, Peter. We're going to table item 8.
Okay.
Could I get a motion to table item 8?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
The next item is a resolution authorizing Robert Cinque, Gold Sand and Cinque Esquires Town Attorneys to make an application for a TRO/injunction with regard to KPB Properties LLC, property located at 203 Old West Point Road West.
TRO is a temporary restraining order. That means somebody has really stepped over the line. I can't go into it since it's a legal matter, but I will say that when the code enforcement officer comes to us and asks us to start this process, all other options have been exhausted. So we're not afraid to go there. Usually turns into a long road, though, and you can have a lot of things thrown on your wheels. But we do need to go ahead and do this. I've spoken to Bob Cinque, and He agrees. So with that, could I get a motion authorizing that resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. I will be speaking to Bob Chinque on a couple of matters and to Greg tomorrow.
The next item on the agenda is a short presentation by U.S. Census Bureau Representative Owen Borda.
Hello, Owen. Thank you for coming. My pleasure. Thank you. Geez, thanks, Bob.
Thank you for having me. I'm working in Putnam County in northern Westchester for the Regional Census Bureau, and my presentation is quick. 5 things to remember about the census. 1, we need to count everyone, whether you're a senior citizen or a newborn, whether you're here legally or not. We need to count every single person in the town and in the nation, because all people here receive services. And this leads to the second important part of the census. The census delivers money to the municipality and to the locality. All the census numbers will be used for the next 10 years and for all federal grants that are written and for state grants, correct? So that leads to about $624 billion a year from the federal government. And that translates into real money here in Philipstown. I was with the senior citizens today talking with them about all the services they receive that are census-based, right? Subsidy for their housing, their Meals on Wheels, their recreation center. All those federal dollars come because the census every 10 years has been effective in this region in counting people. But this year is different. So the third thing to remember about the census is that this year you will receive a letter on or about March 12th that introduces you, invites you to participate in the census, submitting your information online, by telephone, or on paper, or in person. Our preference is that everyone submits their information online. So you'll have a code number, you'll go to your computer, you'll tap in your code number, and in 6 minutes, about for each person in your household, you'll be able to have finished the census, and you'll never hear from us again. If you don't fill it out right away, within 10 days, you'll get a second reminder. 5 days after that, you'll get a third reminder, and then you'll get a fourth reminder with your paper ballot. The paper ballot is our least identifiably safe way to do this. And if you have not responded at all, then about the middle of April, early May, people will start doing the old-fashioned door knocking. But we will knock on doors, and we are persistent. This year, we're able to ask your neighbors if this house is vacant or not. We're going to be able to gather information locally. People are nervous about this process for many reasons. They're worried about their information being sold or stolen or shared with other agencies within the government. And the fourth thing to remember about the census is that all of our information is fully confidential, that none of it can be shared under Article 13 of the Federal Code. We cannot, as census workers or as an agency, share anything we have seen with anyone or any information that we learn in the process of doing our job. So let's say we come up to your apartment and you're in a Section 8 place and you're having people live there who probably don't belong. Or you have an illegal apartment in your house. The Census Bureau cannot call the Planning Department or Department of Social Services and report that. Our goal is to be completely confidential in the community. Why? Because if people are afraid in one household, the entire neighborhood doesn't respond. And that turns into a real problem for everyone for the next 10 years. So once your information is entered in, it goes behind the firewall, and the best security available is keeping it locked up for 72 years. At 72 years, organizations like Ancestry.com will buy that information from us and then sell it back to you. So 3 generations later, you can look back. I'm not going to be here in 72 years, I'm sure, so I'm likely that most of us aren't going to be. 72 years from now, they can know my census information. All the census will ever ask is your name, your address, your relationship to the person in the house, your gender, your ethnicity, They're going to ask you whether you own or rent your house and if your house is paid off. That's all the information they ask. That information is then coded for statistical purposes based upon block groups and census tracts, and that's the statistical data that's shared. So it's very specific. We do not ever ask for your social security number, your bank account, your tax ID number, your immigration status, your green card number, your passport number. We don't ask for any of that. So as I was telling the seniors today, if somebody picks up the phone and calls you and says, "Hi, I'm with the Census Bureau," and the census is very difficult to fill out, if you just pay me $500, I'll do it for you. Give me your social security number. You hang up, and you either call the police or Consumer Affairs. That's illegal. We will never do that. When a person comes to your house and knocks on the door, as a census worker, they will be fully identified. Do not open the door unless they show you a badge that says they're with the Census Bureau. We don't want people being ripped off. The least counted people in the country in the last census were children under the age of 5. We need to be able to count children between the ages of 0, if they're born on April 1st, they get counted, to age 5, because kindergarten classrooms are based upon that planning, right? It's bad when a community hasn't counted those children and they're planning for kindergarten slots or middle school seats and that sort of stuff. So we really need to have to count them. And the last thing is that the census is still looking for workers. We're paying $21 to $23 an hour. It's flexible once you work out your nights and weekends with your supervisor, and then you become part of the team. So the census is safe, it's reliable, it's easy to fill out, it's available in English, Spanish, and 12 other languages. You can answer online, you can pick up the phone and call, and fill out the census just by talking to someone. We'll be in Philipstown on March 19th at the Senior Center at 11 o'clock with census workers to help anybody who is unable to fill the material out. They might not have a computer at home. They might feel nervous. A number of the seniors said they don't have computers or they're afraid to do it. So the Census Bureau is going to bring people here right up the street to facilitate that, and we'll do that for other organizations. And the last really important thing, so I don't forget, the library. So the libraries in the region have all been geared up with the library system to help people in the community fill out their survey. So if you're uneasy about using your IP address, or you're concerned about how to fill out the form, or you're just confused, go to the library, and they're ready to help you. And I have given you all cards. I'm happy to come talk to anybody in town or anywhere else about this. It is the single most important civic duty we're going to have, except for electing a president. So thank you so much for having me.
Somebody's
Thank
interested in working for you, they should go to the...
The census website is 2020census.gov. 2020census.gov. There's a big banner across the top that says jobs.
Great.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course you can.
So if, for every person we don't count, what does it cost us in terms of funding?
There are a bunch of estimates out there. The prevailing number is somewhere around $2,500. So in the
Federal funding.
The commissioner of the Westchester County Planning Commissioner says, based upon information from Temple University, I think it is. So these are her numbers, not mine. It's $2,500 a person. That means 400 people that aren't counted is $1 million. That's a lot of money. Because think of all the programs that lose out for 10 years. It's a lot of money. Great question. But that's a Westchester County number. That's not the feds. Yeah.
What was the undercount in New York State in 2010? Is how many people were missed out of the population? What is the estimated undercount?
Well, I can tell you that the estimated count of self-report was about 70%. So we lost about 30% of self-report.
And that is how many people?
Oh, I can't tell you the end. I can look it up for you. I don't remember.
But that number would be times 2,500.
Correct.
Per year.
And it also cost us a representative at the state, in the House of Representatives. It costs us, right. So the other thing that it impacts is our representation in Washington, and all of the way redistricting happens, as I slipped through that too fast. So that's a really important thing. Historically, New York has consistently lost people in the House of Representatives over the past 4 or 5 census because of undercounting. Already we're on shaky ground because of outmigration, and we can't afford to lose yet another person because we just didn't take the time to help people get counted. So answer that census letter. You're going to get it on after the 12th. Go right to the computer, go to the library, fill it out, and everybody you know, be sure that they've done it so that we don't lose people and money.
So everybody in your household is gonna get something, or
You
just?
get
One.
you get one letter
Okay.
per address.
Gotcha.
It's
Okay.
always based. It's not people based. It's address based. That's a great question. Yeah.
When you count if your children, they have to be living with you.
If your children are not living with you and that equals going away to college, they will be counted at college. We want to count whoever's in the house or will be in the house on April 1st. Anything else? Thanks so much. Thank you for giving me the time.
Appreciate that.
I will say in 1970, my first experience with the census was getting a knock at the door, opening up, and there was Jimmy Lovell working for the Census Bureau. That's very funny.
The next item is to schedule workshops and meetings. We have the monthly town board meeting for next month, and I also sent an email earlier this week about a workshop for next Wednesday with the Garrison
Garrison
Fire
Firehouse?
Department, yeah.
Fire district.
Fire District, sorry.
Yeah.
And that would be here at 7:30.
Can't wait to get back. Is everybody on board for that?
Yep.
All right, let's schedule it.
That's the 11th, right?
Yep.
Yes. The Code Enforcement Monthly Reports for the town of Philipstown, and this is for February 2020. Fees collected was $16,816.20. Total number of permits issued was 22. Additions, alterations, or repairs to residential buildings, 2. All other permits, pools, sheds, decks, plumbing, HVAC, etc., 20. Number of certificates of occupancy, 21. Number of stop work orders issued, 2. Operating permits issued, 2. Inspection of public assembly, 3. Inspection of commercial occupancies, 4. And the building inspector wants to welcome Chris DeBellis to the building department staff as deputy building and fire safety inspector.
Very good.
For the Village of Cold Spring, also for February, fees collected $4,159. Total number of permits issued, 7. Additions, alterations, or repairs to residential buildings, 2. Additions, alterations, or repairs to commercial buildings, 1. All other permits, pools, sheds, decks, plumbing, HVAC, etc., 4. Number of certificates of occupancy, 6.
Our thanks to Greg Wunner for that report. Anything else from the board?
Just want to let you know, the Village of Cold Spring is not going to be having a July 4th celebration this year. I guess they went to get scheduled fireworks, and they're all booked up. So they're possibly looking at Labor Day weekend as a possibility for fireworks or some type of community day.
All right. Just to follow up to last night, to keep the board apprised, I did call OSI today. I spoke with Dawn Haight. It's not going to be a big deal. We just need to get the garden plots, we're talking about the community garden again, get the garden plots staked out over there by Beatty and Watson, then put onto the survey, sent up to OSI, then she'll write a letter authorizing the, the activity on the property. So there are no structures allowed besides the one that we had spec'd out the barn for rec, but besides that, there are no permanent structures like a barn or a shed or a gazebo. And gazebo is actually specifically spelled out in the lease.
I also spoke with Carl today about,
I saw him down there.
oh, you did, doing a proposed driveway cut,
And I called Claudio, who spoke to OSI as well today, about getting a copy of their engineering and drawings. They're still looking for it, but they let the permit lapse, and they took their bond back from the DOT. So there will be some, application fees and a bond, I'm sure. But if we could get the drawings, at least we'd have an idea of what we're working with. But
Right.
Carl is willing to do it with us, so.
I mean, Carl, I have a relationship with Albert DeNegro from the DOT, and Carl knows him also,
Right.
so we can get him down here. It's not as if that's a long-term process, so we should be able to get that going readily. The other part of it is the shrubs that have to be planted along the border. That's the first thing that has to be done, so we're gonna have to work out how that gets done, who's gonna pay for that.
Well, my question is, there was a request for screening for a athletic field, but will there be a need for screening for a garden? It seems a little counterproductive to screen a garden. but-
Dawn Haight was pretty adamant about that
Okay.
today.
It was just a thought I
She
had
said the first
last
thing you're
night.
gonna have to do down there is put that screening up. I think it's for any activity on the property, not about the activity, but if there's gonna be cars parking and people coming and going.
Does it specify what kind of screening it is or anything like that?
It's identified. yeah.
It's
Is it-
identified,
is it-
yeah, in the lease, so, yep. So we'll be working those details out. Hopefully, we can get the thing up and running for this summer. I think it'd be a great, or this spring.
Yeah, at least get it going.
I had a meeting today also with Mike Phelan in the Continental Village. He's the Parks Commissioner in Continental Village Parks, just to update us on a few things. We took a little tour, we looked at the beach, looked at the tennis court, looked at the basketball court, the playground. We're gonna be putting some money into things down there. They've already put some money into the beach. They have new sand 2/3 of the way up right now. But the surfaces on the tennis court and the basketball court, they need to be redone. Other than that, though, the net's in good shape. The backboards are fine. They could get painted or something like that, but they need nets. The net for the tennis court is good. The nets for the basketball court are non-existent. The surface is rough. And then they're gonna rehab, the playground, it looks used, but it's not terrible. I mean, it's new equipment. Some of it may need to be painted and power washed, but it doesn't look any different than the Haldane School playground. It's the same type of thing. So we could do some sprucing up down there. There's not an unlimited budget, so we're gonna work within the budget and get the place ready for the summer. We're also talking about how notifications go out and the keeping of the calendar and formalizing the processes for renting out the clubhouse. I think one thing people need to realize with the clubhouse, this is a municipally owned building. It's not, some hall that you're renting out where you can do whatever you want. We have constraints, and there are a lot of neighbors around there, and we want to be respectful. It's a residential area, and we have insurance liabilities there, so it can't be a free-for-all. And not that it often is, but there's been some times down there where people haven't been too happy. So we're going to set some real guidelines for that, and we're going to adhere to them. And if things don't go the way we want them to, then there's going to be less use of the clubhouse, not more. The assertion that it's a moneymaker, that's not panning out. Every time the clubhouse gets rented, we make about $25. So that's not footing the bill. And it's a local, resident perk, but it used to be more about daytime activities and family-friendly things, so we're heading back toward that. Once a year, there is the Oktoberfest. I'd like to commit to the cleanup after the Oktoberfest, because Mike is usually saddled with that, and it's a big day down there, and I don't think should be up to the Commissioner of Parks to be down there mopping the floors and cleaning up. So we'll get a professional cleanup crew. We're gonna hope that the hosts of the Oktoberfest do the broad strokes, get the garbage out of there, get all the stuff out, get it ready for cleaning, then we'll go in and do the detailed cleaning, so.
You mean we,
Like you and I. Sunday morning, July 5th. But we had a lengthy meeting, a good discussion down there. Mike and I will be attending the Property Owners Association meeting, as will Mike Phelan. And Chuck, what's Chuck's last name down there? You remember? His assistant? I got you on the spot now.
Yeah, yeah.
I met him
No,
today
I'm gonna blame
for the
you.
first time, but they're a good bunch, hard workers. I mean, Mike has put in many, many years down there. For people who don't know what he does, he runs that entire park. I mean, he hires the lifeguards, he cleans the clubhouse, he schedules, does all the scheduling for the clubhouse. You know, anything that goes on down there, including the replacement of that bridge, which was a big deal, and the Cortland Lake Dam project, that I think people just forget. Things get done, and then it's like, yeah, that's nice, it's a great improvement, but they forget all the work that goes into getting those things done. And the Cortland Lake Dam project was a big, big project, and Mike was successful in getting us quite a bit of money for that. He got us $600,000 to put toward that dam project, so, you know, we really appreciate the work that Mike does, and the CVPOA also, anybody who steps up. So, that's it.
Richard, did you want to say anything about the Hudson Valley Community Solar? People can still enroll, right? They had an event, I believe.
Yeah, they had an
At
event at
Glenwood.
Glenwood.
Yes.
I attended that event. If you have questions, you can talk to Roberto about it. He's very knowledgeable, but you can still enroll in the Hudson Valley Community Solar Program. It's a good program. You can lower your bill, definitely lower it. It lowers it by 10%. So,
And Philipstown's also getting some money from the enrollees.
right, for everybody to
for every person who
every person.
enrolls in the program, yeah, the town does get some money, and that will go towards our refrigerant reclamation program that we're hoping to institute, because people don't realize that the refrigerants that were great for reducing damage to the ozone turn out to be some of the most potent greenhouse gases on the planet. The refrigerants are 2,000 times as potent as carbon dioxide. So when they're released, they do a lot of damage. So what we're looking to do is educate people about that, and then have a program where if someone can't get rid of an appliance, that we'll go and get it from them and make sure it's disposed of properly. Because if we're going to fight climate change, if we don't do it through these programs and capture the refrigerants, we're not going to be successful. I mean, they are very powerful greenhouse gases. Sir, I believe you have something you wanted to read, a letter?
No, I don't want to read the letter.
Oh, okay.
My name is Sal Vasta. My daughter Amanda Vasta is found interest in Philipstown, and we just wanted to be here tonight. I wanted to introduce myself to you guys, and wanted to make sure. What's that? That's right.
Yes.
And I did just wanted to give you some correspondence, and hopefully by the next meeting, if you guys can find time to take a look at it, and maybe you guys can discuss it during your workshop, that would be great. And that we'll see you at the next meeting. And then if you'd like to call me anytime, or Amanda, or even William Bronner is our attorney. And he's, we're trying to build a little momentum here and see if this thing is going to be realistic in what we're trying to do. And hopefully we can work together on this.
Okay. Yeah, we'd like to help you out. It's a town-owned property that we don't use. When I first got the letter, I forwarded it to our attorney. I spoke with him on the phone, and he is working to see if we can actually convey that property. So if we can, I don't have an issue with it. I mean, we can discuss it at the board, but I would say in all likelihood, if we can, we will.
That's great.
So we'd like to have, families stay together. We understand that.
Well, I've been on that street, and I've been talking to people just by going up there, and it seems like a really nice community, and they could use some help up there, and
It is.
it's a beautiful area.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in. Sorry you had to wait so long. Let me use my agenda that quick. There we go. All right, anything else from the audience? Yes, Nat?
Doug, you go ahead, I'll yield to you.
What a gentleman.
Doug Cunningham. Is there an
You gotta go to the mic, though. Seal's gonna yell at you. if you don't.
She
Doug
will.
Cunningham. Is there an estimated cost on the highway garage?
We do have an early estimate of around $1.5 million.
And that all is still within,
This
The
is
tax cap?
within the tax cut, yes. We're not going to raise taxes or run, afoul of the 2% cap. We have been saving for a long time for these projects. These have been long-term goals. We've been working toward Town Hall for 12 years to get to the point where we could do it. And with Highway, we've been at least 6 years in the planning. So we've been setting money aside each year so we can offset the bond when we do take it out. But these will be long-term bonds, and then the money we've saved goes to paying for that bond over time and offsetting the costs.
And that'll start and end, finish this year?
Well, we anticipate that project will probably take about 8 months.
Different topic. Do you have an estimated cost now on the town hall refurbishing after the various changes?
Well, what we had approved initially was $2 million. We don't anticipate getting anywhere near that. I would say toward the further we go along, we were under $1 million to start with. We were surprised at the bids that we initially got, and I'm not afraid to say it now because all the bids are in. We didn't want to, advertise that. But I don't know, if I had to say at this point, we're probably heading toward around $1.3 million.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
We will have to get some furnishings and things when we're finally done. We don't want to furnish the building with, although the new chairs for the meeting room, they'll remain the same. Those are new chairs. Anything that we have that's suitable for the building, we will reuse. But we're not going to,
We don't want to put old furniture into a brand-new facility.
yeah. I mean, some of that furniture, the desk I sit at, for instance, my grandfather sat at, same exact desk. And I don't mind keeping it. It's fine for me, but maybe the next guy won't want it. Yes, Nat?
I just want to give you a little update if I can.
Sure.
So I'm Nat Prentice, and I'm speaking on behalf of the...
That is Nat Prentice, by the way.
Right. And I just wanted to give you an update on the Comprehensive Plan Update Committee.
Yes.
Most importantly, we really would like to see if we could get on the calendar for a workshop.
Absolutely.
Because what we're finding is kind of goes as follows. We've come to realize how much actually has changed in the last 15 years since the town's existing plan was adopted. And we've also begun to get a feeling for some of the things that we already know are going to happen in the next 5 years. And we're thinking to ourselves that we should talk about whether or not tweaking an old vision is going to be as useful as creating a new vision. It may be that there's a good bit more work to do, and we recognize that money is not really available at the local level. It's hard to do that, but there may be some other resources out there that could be brought to bear on this particular issue. We do have a little bit of money from the Hudson Valley Greenway, not enough to really get ourselves a whole lot of consultant time, but enough to produce something for you over the course of this year. So at the end of this year, we will have something, but I just want all of us to talk about whether or not a tweak is as useful as a new plan.
I mean, I don't want to differ with you, but I think the work you've been doing will be more than a tweak. You've been at this for nearly 2 years now, right?
Yes, yes, but there's also only so much volunteers can do.
Right, but it sounds like there's been serious work done.
There has been. There's a lot of good work done, but we continue to hear about things that seem to be looking at us in the face over the course of the next 5 years, and we just want to raise with you whether or not we've done all the planning that we need to do to have the kind of vision for our town that we want to have.
You raise an excellent point. If you want to get on the calendar to meet with us, we'd love to do it.
Good. Tara, we can do the, I know you're going to be busy with the Garrison Fire District next Wednesday. But any of the Wednesdays thereafter, the 18th or the 25th would work for us fine.
March 18th.
Day after St. Patrick's Day, but that doesn't matter.
Oh, no, that wouldn't matter. We could do it the 25th if that you prefer.
It's fine with me.
If you can send me an email.
All right, Tara, you and I will be in touch. Thank you. I think that'll be just a useful discussion, if only an update of what the kinds of things that we've been doing.
All right, terrific. And it really came to the fore during the interviews for planning board how much we referenced the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, and I just, well, we'll talk about it.
No, but it's an important document. It's our guiding document.
Yes, that's what we're thinking of it. Thank you.
Anything else from you? Yes.
Hey, Gord.
All right, Corey.
What's going on, Cor?
How you doing, Cor?
How you doing?
Hi, Corey. Thank you.
my name's Corey Lyons. Recently, the Putnam Valley Town Board passed a resolution supporting the Emergency Responders Privacy and Protection Act. And I would like for Philipstown to join Putnam Valley in passing a resolution supporting the Emergency Responders Privacy Act to ensure that our first responders in our community are protected, and as well as their personal information.
All right, we're just receiving this, so, I mean, I'd like to review it first. Do you know how many other towns in the county have passed it?
Right now, Putnam Valley is the first town to have passed it.
Okay. Well, take a look at it, we'll review it, and then maybe in all likelihood, we'll pass it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for bringing it to our attention.
Thanks, Paul.
Anything else? I don't know if there's anybody left. Everybody's had their say. All right, vacancies, Planning Board 2, we're going to resolve that over the weekend. We'll have a round robin, I guess. Everybody think about that. We had some excellent interviews. Some of the people I felt like should have been interviewing us for our positions. Approval of vouchers, general.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Highway.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? I vote aye. Continental Village Park District.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Continental Village Water District.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion carried, meeting adjourned.